Welcome to the channel. My name is Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan, where I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. A little something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And well, this episode, I'm not going to say today because I'm going to shoot this over 2 days. It is Saturday evening. I actually thought this weekend I was going to get both a Saturday and a Sunday to work on the Fairmont, but my Saturday got away from me a little bit due to some circumstances beyond my control. But I'm going to bring the Fairmont in the garage and kind of keep it here till we get it done. So that's exciting. I mean, the weather's nice enough. It's almost spring. I can handle a few windshield scrapings on the Tacoma. But before we bring it in tonight, I don't know if there's two things I want to try on the brake system before I give up on my current setup and switch and go to like an SN95 setup. But before I do that, I've got a shout out I want to do and get a sticker up over on the toolbox. So let's do that. Alright, so our buddy Ken over at Spider Garage sent us his sticker. We're going to get it up on the toolbox. A little bit about his channel, and I'll leave an info card up over here. He and his son Nathaniel are building a Chevy Monza right now, Monza Spider. And so if you want to dig some other offbeat hot rodding, I mean, a Monza definitely fits the bill of our odd bodies, but budget-minded, relatable as well. Father-son project. Go check out their channel. They have a lot of fun with it. I know there's some big changes coming to Miles, the main character on their channel this season. So go check out their channel, subscribe, and get caught up. Ken, Nathaniel, you guys are officially added to the toolbox. Make sure you go check out all these other great channels on the toolbox. A lot of the faithful subscribers, people have been with me for a long time, so a lot of great channels out there. Hope you guys get a chance to check all these out. I'll leave a link again down in the description to Ken's channel. So yeah, with that, let's get back to the episode. One thing you may remember from last episode is we talked about the difference in, I showed you how the brake pads weren't quite exact between the Fairmont and the Mustang pads, and so here's the side-by-side. You can see just a little bit of a difference in shape. I mean, this is thinner and skinnier and longer. This is a little more blunt and fat. And so I put my caliper to the thickness of right here as compared to right here, and the Fairmont's is definitely taller. So I went ahead and ordered from O'Reilly's a set of Fairmont pads. They were next to nothing, especially when I apply some of my cashback bonus from Discover Card to it. Basically, I want to say the price before tax was like $17.99 maybe for the pair. So after tax, I don't remember, but probably right around $20. Take 9 off of that, $11. So I'm going to swap out for some Fairmont pads. And the good news is, because the guy I bought the Ranger spindles from gave me a set of pads that are not only on the car right now, but an extra set right here. I think I could probably sell these pads back to somebody and recoup my money there. So that's one thing. Next off, I'm going to attempt to take the master cylinder off, try to lose as little to no fluid as possible so I don't have to bench bleed that again. All in effort so I can get the new booster on it. So let's get going on that. First thing we want to do is have handy the master cylinder bleeder kit. So as I undo each of the fittings from the front and the back, I can plug that, loop it back in. So we'll take the cap off. and get ready to do that. Alright, so I apologize for those last few shots. You probably couldn't see super well because I have the car backed in. Of course, my garage door being up blocks the lights, but I successfully did get the bleeder kit back on the master cylinder, so now we can, hopefully this is better, we can take the master cylinder off and try to get the new booster on, take the old one off. It's going to be easier to do having the car backed in like this, because I've done it before when the car's pulled in the other way, and I've really got to lay out underneath the dash to get the brake pedal little lever off. It's really tight under there. Maybe I'll get the DJI Osmo action cam to show you guys that. But otherwise, yeah, so far, so good. Alright, so with the new master cylinder, which, you know, this new rust looks worse than old rust. I was able to, first off, you know, for push rod and length, I wanted to make sure that these collars were the same distance off this mounting flange, and they are. So they're both right at like 5/8 of an inch. I used with my ruler here, and so then after that, I fashioned this kind of push rod tool here, just extra rat rod radio flyer parts laying around. Shoved it in there, planed this up against it, and then used my scribe to mark a point and check kind of that relative distance between both. And honestly, they're like, if they're not spot on, they're off by like, we're talking probably like thousandths of an inch. So much so that I don't know that I'm going to mess with the brake booster now, because that push rod's going to be positioned just fine. So out of curiosity, after I got these plugged off on the car, you know, and I brought it over to the bench vise, pushed on it a couple times, and once you know, there was a lot of air in this reservoir. And this reservoir, I got tiny bubbles out of it, but I'm not really even sure I'm moving fluid properly through this. Like, I almost wonder if there's something messed up with the master cylinder too. Obviously, now knowing that how much air was in there, good chance that was my problem all along. But you know, I tried the Scotty Kilmer version where you bleed it on the car. You know, you just loosen these fittings and pump it a couple times, and I did it over and over and over. So I thought, hey, so that obviously didn't work. But anyway, I've got it re-bled now. But yeah, I think I'll kind of just sleep on it for a night, because yeah, another reason why I don't think I'm going to do that brake booster situation is, well, you're not going to be able to see too well because of it being pitch black, but the distance I have between the strut tower and the firewall, so that new booster pumps it out another 2 and some inches, and I think I would be running into the strut tower wall. So at this point, I think I literally am just gonna re-bleed the master cylinder, slap it back on, put on the new pads, and if that doesn't take care of it, well then ultimately it's time probably to do something different. We'll pick back up where we left off from last night, now that we have daylight, to help show you guys. So again, another reason why I may not opt to use the new booster with the adjustable push rod, because, well, one, we determined that we're in good shape as it is. So that's one thing. Second thing is, I don't know that I would have had the clearance between the strut tower and the firewall anyway, as this sucker is just deeper, and I'll get you a closer up shot on what I mean. But you know, I think basically it's gonna work out better that I think stick with the stock one. So I'm most worried about down here at the bottom. I have the least amount of clearance. I need 2 and some change. I think 2 1/4 maybe it is, because when I measured, basically if this would have been the firewall, this total distance, well, maybe I should be measuring down here. It does look like we would pick up some clearance there, just as this kind of works its way upward. But I don't know, to me it's kind of, I'm not sure it's worth the hassle. I suppose since everything's out, I could try to fit that in, and if it doesn't work, put this back in. But it is a pain in the butt. I've done it once before, getting up under there. That, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I guess I'll take another second round of measurements just to be sure. One other thing, I did pull off that brake line. We talked about it in a previous episode. This guy, I feel like when I was modifying it, trying to get it to fit on the new master cylinder, that I potentially pinched the line right here. And you know, now that I can touch it and feel it up close, I bet there still is the ability for fluid to go through, but you know what, it's better safe than sorry. I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's and see if I can find one that's got the same adapters on both ends, so I don't have to flare my own ends, because I think that may have been another part of an issue. This was the end I flared on my own, and I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but it did not turn out the best. So if this never sealed very well, obviously air could potentially have always gotten in through here. So before I go plumbing this thing back up, I'm going to leave the bleeder set in here until I get a second person to come help me. And basically, I'm going to bench bleed it the rest of the way from inside the car, just to make sure we have no bubbles. I mean, I think I've got them all worked out by hand, but you never know. And so I just feel like this is going to be the better setup. Just get somebody who I trust, who can tell me. I did actually reach out to 2 different people. One person, that's on me, because I never really reached back out, just because the way yesterday went, it was going to be hard to give them what to anticipate today. The other person, they never got back to me. So anyway, not a big deal. But I do have to re-flare one end. I got a new brake line from O'Reilly's, and because it is 20 inches long and I only needed it probably like 12 inches long, I'm gonna do a couple practice flares before I officially do the last one. So, and maybe 3 practice flares, because the last go around, as you saw, was not very good. So I just ran to the next town over to the old farm and home store, Orscheln's, to pick me up a file, as well as a pipe cutter. I did have a pipe cutter last go around when I was flaring brake lines, as I borrowed from a friend, but since I'm using the O'Reilly's loaner tool, I don't have one of those. And yeah, it's probably long overdue. I probably should have owned one of these a long time ago. So I'm going to do a couple practice flares to make sure I can get the quality right where I want it to be. But I'm kind of, as I reflect on where I'm at today, just more of the same. Kind of depressed. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't afraid that I'm going to screw something up again. And I guess that's just really why I want a second person around, second opinion. So before I put everything back together, and whether I would end up with the same problems or get it fixed, at least if I wound up with the same problems, I wouldn't be so hard on myself thinking that I screwed something up again or whatever. I just want to, this is either going to work or it's not, and it could be partially the components, it could be a bad master cylinder, I don't know. But if somebody else was here, we got this bled right, and they gave the thumbs up too, then at least I would know it's more probably a component than me. I just don't have, I don't know, I think that's what I need at this point. So anyway, I'm gonna probably just close it down here after not too much longer. Do a couple practice runs and kind of call it a day. It was such a nice weekend. I really thought I was gonna have more time to probably get to the end of this. It's just things didn't go the way I thought I had planned for the weekend. So, but whatever, it is what it is. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't care which one you do. It really helps me out. Pick you up a straight 6-man Pistons tee or 3060s 198 tee. Link down in the description below to my Spreadshirt store. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, peace out.